Alright, so in this video, I wanted to talk about the most recent update, update 1.5.10. So in this update, they actually didn't add a ton, just as far as content-wise. No new sets, no new slimes, no major new game mechanics, with the exception of the new critical resistance stat, which I'll talk about in just a second. The one just kind of miscellaneous thing they changed. Now if you enter into a battle, if you have the add skip purchased, when I go to leave the stage, you're actually not going to any longer see the option to do a regular claim, because why would you want to if you've already purchased the add skip? So if I go and I can hit that one claim button, there'll just be one option to get the 1.5 times gold. If you haven't purchased the ad skip, you will still have that regular claim button, as well as the option to watch an ad to get 1.5 times your gold collection as well, which is nice. So the other main thing they added in the most recent update is critical resistance. So critical resistance used to kind of get lumped up with status resistance, but now they broke it out separately and really changed it so it does become meaningful. Now I'll add, so prior to the update, I was able to, clear stage 12 on normal mode without any difficulty. Post this update, before I went and upgraded the critical resistance, it didn't actually make any difference. So in normal mode and even hard mode, from what I had tested, the critical resistance stat, you don't really need it to be able to beat the stage. But keep in mind, they are going to be adding stage 13 relatively soon, as well as the new difficulty mode, which is going to most likely involve this critical resistance stat. So as far as how the critical resistance stat works, and what's important to note is this impacts your slime will have critical resistance, as well as the enemies you are fighting have critical resistance. And this is just going to impact your ability to deal a critical hit, as well as how much critical damage that hit does. And now enemies can actually deal critical damage to you, which is kind of a new interesting mechanic. But how it works is the skill critical resistance. So you have your base critical chance. So right now I'm at 81% critical chance. So it used to be if I had 100% critical chance, my attacks were always going to deal critical damage. This has changed a bit. Now remember, this talent you're upgrading in the defensive tab is actually for your slime. So in the chance that the enemy is going to be able to deal critical hits to you and how much critical damage they'll be able to deal. But the enemies are all going to have a fixed critical resistance stat as well. Well, it will vary by enemy, but so how that works, so even though I have an 81% critical chance ability, my actual just percentage chance to do critical damage will vary. So just for ease of calculation, so if I had 100% critical chance, which is the maximum I would want under the old system, then because if I had 100 critical chance, my critical attacks would be critical and deal critical damage 100% of the time. Now with the rework system, you actually take your critical chance, then times 1 minus the enemy critical resistance, and then you divide that by, so you do 1 minus, and then it's the slime critical resistance divided by your slime critical resistance plus 1,000. So say in this case, the enemy had 30 critical resistance. So it would be 30 divided by 1,030, 1 minus that number. So roughly it would break out to like a 3% difference. So even if the enemy had 30 critical resistance and my critical chance was 100%, then it would actually only be a 97% chance for my attack to deal critical damage. And then you can see that same kind of calculation applies to the critical multiplier, where it just bakes in your critical multiplier, and then the effectiveness is reduced depending on how much critical resistance the enemy has as well. So by upgrading this for your slime, what you're doing is you're simultaneously decreasing the chance you are to be dealt a critical hit, as well as how much damage a critical hit will deal to you from the enemies. As far as counteracting this on your side, really the only thing you can do to try and have more critical hits is to upgrade this critical chance talent. And now once you've maxed it, you can also use runes and stuff, because now under this new system, now currently this doesn't really apply for like those normal mode and some hard mode stages like I've mentioned, just because when testing it out, it didn't really seem like any of the enemies had critical resistance. But looking to chapter 13 as well as the new difficulty mode, those likely will have critical resistance. And in that case, there'll be scenarios where you're going to want to have over 100% critical chance, because the enemy will have a critical resistance factor, which just affects, it will reduce your critical chance. So having a higher critical chance, in some cases well over 100%, might make sense. But that's about all for this update video. Let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything else you want to see. Thanks for watching.